Hi. Hello. How are you? I'm sitting here next to my plant, in front of my painting, excited to tell you about a new trip adventure that I am planning and have been planning for the last several months or so. And I'm finally able to tell you about it. Do you want to come to France with me and paint and draw in our sketchbooks endlessly? So you may have seen that last year I went to Ireland with a group of people who started off as strangers and quickly became some of my nearest and dearest, most heart-sparkly humans. We went across Ireland and back again and filled our sketchbooks with all of our travel adventures and journal-style entries and playfulness, observational drawings, emotion-vibed drawings and paintings, and we just played all across Ireland and back. And it was definitely a highlight of my life. So the France trip is planned for next year, June 13th to the 20th, 2026, and we're going to Aimé-Dordogne. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I hope so. So it's sort of south of France, and it's beautiful. We're going to be staying in our very own chateau that we're going to have all to ourselves. They won't invite any other guests for the duration that we're there. Just us and the staff and our own personal chef. The chateau we'll be staying at is a historic estate and it's 25 acres. There are fields, there are lakes, there are gardens, so many beautiful places to just sit and paint and draw together or alone. There are also woodlands, a pool, a heated pool, but I think the best part is that we have our own dedicated art studio to create in and draw and just like get a bit messy in, which is amazing. So we'll be staying in the one place for the entire 8 days of the trip, which is fantastic because it gives us a place to rest and to settle and be home for. Ireland was amazing, but we moved every 1 or 2 days and that was pretty exhausting and it left little time to make art. So I think this is going to be amazing. We're going to have our little hub, our little spot, our little home, and then we'll have a couple of day trips throughout the week that we can go explore, gather inspiration, do some painting on the spot, and just bask in the beauty of the surrounding towns. Maybe a little bit about myself just in case you need a refresher. My name is Sophie McPike and I am an artist. I was born and raised here in Melbourne, Australia. As cliche as it sounds, I've always painted. As soon as I could hold a pencil, I was scribbling and playing and building and making, just having a cute time, preferring art supplies and drawing over hanging out with my brothers or friends or any other kids. I have worked in animation and I have worked in pet supplies, but I jumped out of the office environment of animation and I became a freelancer in 2016 where I just exploded with inspiration and trying all these new things. So I'm primarily an illustrator, but a lot of my work is very journal style, very storytelling, very personal. And maybe sometimes when you look at it, you don't necessarily see that, which I kind of like because I like people to put their own meaning and own contexts into my work. But I love to explore a lot of my own thoughts and feelings and experiences in my art. And that sort of led me a little bit into travel journaling. I'm not a huge traveler, surprisingly. I hate airplanes, but I found it the most manageable way to enjoy traveling for me was to fill a travel journal as I go. It's sort of a nice way at the end of the day or little steps across the day to just sit down and spend a little bit of time in a sketchbook in my travel journal. I feel like I remember the trip better and I feel like it has more personal touch to it. I prefer looking back through my travel journals than my photos that I had taken. Traveling with your sketchbook is such a fun way to also develop a lot of skills and a lot of different ways of using art as your language, because you're kind of on the go. Sometimes you don't have much time to draw, so you have to just throw down your impression of a place. And sometimes the weird impressions are more interesting and express your experience better. So I'd really love to explore this with you deeply, but also just playfully and silly together. So I want to play. And what better place to play in our sketchbooks than in the glorious countryside and medieval villages and gardens and ponds in France. I want us to have an experience of being courageously curious and also compassionately curious with ourselves. I want us to give ourselves permission to just do the weird thing and try the weird thing and experiment and get playful. And I'm going to do a lot of mini workshops. I'm going to give you a little workbook that I've been working on, which is going to have tons of little tasks and ideas and just like little prompts in it, along with like information about color palettes and shape language, composition, flow and rhythm and all that kind of stuff. So I want you to pack your messiest art supplies. Well, okay, maybe not that messy. It's hard to pack real messy art supplies when you're traveling, but art supplies that you're willing to explore and play with a bit more. And I'm going to also be giving everyone a beautiful sketchbook. So we're all going to start with a blank slate together, the same kind of sketchbook, and we're just gonna go wandering around in this sketchbook together. But yeah, I'll be there with tons of prompts, workshop stuff, creative vibes, quietness, silliness. I'm a neurodivergent person and I need a lot of time to recharge, and I want you to feel comfortable to do that too. If there's a time where as a group you're a bit overwhelmed or you're a bit exhausted, I would love if you were happy enough or confident enough or just comfortable enough to go and sit over there or put your headphones in or just go and have a nap. Like, I want a nice, safe, cozy place for everyone on this trip, and I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable. We're gonna also practice advocating for ourselves. If you do need to just step away or have an afternoon to yourself, I want you to absolutely feel comfortable to do that, because I'm probably gonna do that sometimes as well, a little bit. But all in all, we're not going to be making a perfect travel journal sketchbook. We're going to lean into finding a safe place in our sketchbooks, within ourselves and our sketchbooks, I guess, to practice happy accidents, weird and wonderful mark making, and growth and compassion. Skill level, any, just willing to play and explore. No pressure on ourselves to be perfect, amazing artists. We're there to experience and use our sketchbook journals as a playful place to document our experiences and our thoughts and feelings, or just pretty pictures, whatever we find useful on that day to ourselves. So I'm officially opening up some spots now. There's going to be a max of 15 guests, and there are different room types available. So there are 7 breakfasts and 7 dinners included in the price, and 5 lunches. There's going to be a couple of lunches that we buy ourselves when we go on our day trips. So yeah, it also includes all private transportation and a guide for all the planned activities, which is going to be amazing because they'll be able to point out all the best places to do en plein air painting and scavenge for interesting inspiration. The venue we're staying at is going to be fully staffed. We're going to have a chef. So that's cool. Some of the expenses that aren't included are your airfare, your travel insurance, art materials, a couple of lunches, tips maybe for staff that we come across, and whatever other goodies you want to buy along the way, obviously. So I'm going to be providing some art materials for you, but you should definitely bring your favorite, most comfortable art supplies as well. So that's the chunk of the information in a nutshell. I'm so excited. I'm also slightly terrified, but in a good way. It's like that excited anticipation. Let's do it, let's go. I think I'm more terrified of going on an aeroplane, to be honest, more than anything. I learned a lot after my Ireland trip last year, and I feel like now I know how to make these trips 5 times better with more tutoring, more workshop style stuff, and just more confidence in general. So I think we're gonna have a real cute time. I hope this trip fills you with inspiration, silly scribble wiggles, and unforgettable memories. Yeah, so maybe see you on this retreat. See you next year. See you in June 2026, I hope, in France, where we can scribble wildly and recklessly and sillily and comfortably. Words, I don't know. Okay, bye. Bye.